I just want to encourage you, and this is the heart of this section, we shall slow time, is to have that sober reality of time is finite. We cannot generate more of it. And we don't want to hear ourselves wishing that we had more time because we regret the choices that we made.
If you're not conscious about your investment strategy, you won't end up where you want to be, not financially or as a human. On this show, we interview highly successful investors and share how they overcame limitations to become unstoppable forces of success. If you're ready to learn what it is to be a conscious investor so you can end up where you want, keep listening.
Conscious investor, welcome back. Can you believe this is the final episode of Monday Mindset that we will be going through Brendon Burchard's book, The Motivation Manifesto? We have gone through, when we're finished today, we'll have gone through, we'll have just touched on every part of this book, from freedom, fear, and motivation to all 9 declarations. And I've never done anything like this throughout the life of the podcast. I've actually never done a series like this. And so I would love your honest feedback. You know, I am a very avid reader. If this is something that you are like, Julie, that was really helpful, and I really appreciated you, pulling out the nuggets from that book, because now I don't have to read it. Always read, always be reading, right? But anyhow, please let me know, because I am always reading. Remember, I do have a book club. Reading absolutely changes your life. So if you want information on the book club, it's free. I want to support you in your growth and your progress. So please make sure you shoot me an email, julie@julieholly.com, and we'll make sure you have registration info. We do meet Wednesday mornings from 9 to 10 a.m., very punctual on that. That's Pacific time, just to be clear. And then also remember, with the book club, we go between personal development and professional development, just so that we are well-rounded. But today, it is the last episode that we are going to be diving into the Motivation Manifesto. And I would love to have your feedback. I'm just so curious if you've enjoyed this. And this is a very perfect spot for us to conclude on. And I thought it was a very sweet spot, a great way for him to wrap up the book, because he's talking about 2 beats longer. This declaration number 9 is actually called "We Shall Slow Time." But the part that really stands out to me is 2 beats longer. You see, we're not supposed to miss out on moments. Now, if you've been listening for a while, you know that my dad drops dead very unexpectedly. And for some of us that have had that type of experience in our life, or a similar experience where life literally changed in a heartbeat, literally, you might have this similar thing where it's like, that was a after dad died moment. That's a before dad died, right? Like, I was very close with my dad. And so that was a very, one of those, defining moments in my life. And so my understanding on time and presence has been amplified through that sudden departure that he had. And so I understand, but it's easy to lose sight of that we must be present in our life. And if we're not, we're going to hear a later version of ourselves saying, "I thought there would be more time." Now, I'm really fortunate that the last time I saw my dad was exceptional. And God was so gracious and kind to me, because the last time I saw my dad, we ate bear meat. You may have heard me tell this story before, but we lived in California. You don't really hunt. You don't having bear meat. Who has that, right? But he had a client that actually had dispatched a bear and had this bear meat. And I get this call, and my kids are young at the time. I'd literally already put them to bed, because it was like 7:30. It was bedtime for these kiddos. Maybe more because mom needed a break, but because you know how it is when the kids are little. All that to say, I could have said, "No, Dad, the kids are in bed. I'll see you tomorrow." I could have said that. but I didn't. And I'm like, you know, it's summer. That sounds cool. I just put them to bed. They're probably not even asleep. They'll love to hang out with, you and mom. And so I get the kids up, call Steve, and he meets us over at my parents' house. I happen to have a watermelon, which my dad loves, and I happen to have made an apple pie, which is not something that I normally do. Although I do make a killer apple pie. And I had made one for my husband, and that's one of my dad's favorites. So I have like two of my dad's favorite things. He's got bear meat, and I'm like, well, let's just go do this, right? So we're over there. The kids are swimming and playing. And that was the last time I saw my dad. I cannot even imagine how my life would be different if I had chosen to stay home and let the kids rest and let myself rest and all of that. Okay. So we always have to there isn't more time. And this could go completely the other side of the pendulum to where we say yes to everything and we don't use discernment. And that's just it. We have to use discernment because our time is finite. Death is real. The moment that we were born, our clock started for our departure. So it's not like, oh, I can do it tomorrow. We don't know that we have a tomorrow. Okay. And in fact, my husband and I recently had this conversation. We went up to our son's bedroom. He wasn't home and we weren't snooping around. We were just talking about a furniture arrangement situation and, some ideas that my son had. And I'm talking with my husband about it. And he was huge into Legos. We could fill a space with Legos. And I love that. And our son just loves building, but he's getting older now. And I looked at these Lego tables that, my father-in-law just built that are beautiful with this peg, the Lego boards and everything. And we're just looking at the shelves with all the Lego collections on them. And my husband realized, and you can say this to people, but somebody has to internalize it. And in that moment, I looked at my husband and he was getting it. And I challenged him, go back to the previous episode, right? I gave him a loving challenge. I said, tell me what you're feeling. Tell me what you're thinking. Because it's important when we articulate it, we take our thoughts to another level. That's why journaling is so powerful and an important practice. And he articulated, he's like, he's not a little boy anymore. He's past all of this. Now, if you're listening and you're a mom, oftentimes moms will be the ones that will transition the toys and transition clothing and things like that. Okay. Yes. Some of you dads out there do that also, but I think oftentimes I notice that generally moms do that. Right. So I've had this engagement. I remember, when they go from itty bitty baby clothes to this next size and you're like, oh, well, goodbye. That will never happen again. So I've gone through this process a lot, but my husband is having that realization. And this is such a critical realization. I know that I'm kind of centering this on parenting and kids growing up and such, but this is in all parts of life. It could be at a job that we have. We don't know that we're going to have that job for forever. People get laid off. People get fired. Things happen. Companies don't tell their employees everything. They just say, hey, here's your notice. Here's your severance. Okay. I didn't realize that was coming down the pipe. So I just want to encourage you, and this is the heart of this section, We Shall Slow Time, is to have that sober reality of time is finite. We cannot generate more of it. And we don't want to hear ourselves wishing that we had more time because we regret the choices that we made. And we don't want to have that. A lot of people chasing their financial freedom and chasing the dollar signs or commas on their financial statements. And we don't want to be the people that are obsessed with politics. And people forget to actually live the life they were created to live. We weren't created with the purpose of go make money. We weren't created with a purpose of obsess about politics. We weren't created with these weird purposes. Now, we might have a purpose within that, like, oh, generate wealth so that you can support and you can build and you can, help raise other people up. Or we might be involved in politics because we're doing something proactive and productive. So I'm not diminishing that. I'm just saying we want to mind ourselves on, am I just simply being obsessed about this? Or am I living the life that I was intended to live? Every single day that you are alive, you have won the lottery. And you and I have been entrusted with these precious heartbeats. So be aware of the world around you. Yeah, be aware, but live the life that was entrusted to you. Be bold, be courageous, be daring. Live it. It's invigorating. It's fun and exciting and rewarding. Everything is here now. Miss it, and you will have missed life itself. Conscious Investor, that is the conclusion of the Motivation Manifesto. I appreciate that you have, worked through this book with me via these podcast episodes, and moving forward, we're going to go back. I have a lot of topics I want to talk to you about. I won't lie, I've been a little sad. I wanted to have these episodes released. I wanted to walk with integrity through this, but there have been so many times where I'm like, I just want to have an episode on X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, I need to honor the process that I began. There have been times I've actually wanted to quit this whole process because I'm not sure it's resonating with everybody. And so, but integrity, trusting the process, following through. But I'm excited to have a little bit more freedom in the flow of how things go. And I love this book, and I definitely think every single conscious investor should have this, not just on their bookshelf, but at hand where you can reach it, where you can refer to it. Because I'll tell you, as I've worked on these episodes, it invites me to go back into the pages, as it's almost always within arm's reach. I reference it with people all the time. It's really powerful, and it will help keep you grounded. I also, as we wrap this up and wrap this episode up, I want to remind you that there are a lot of big things happening. I've got some great events that I'm going to be at. Real Estate Wealth Builders Conference is in Phoenix, Arizona at the beginning of May. I would love to meet you in person. Powerful conference, so many amazing speakers. Oh, by the way, I'll be one of them. And I'll be leading a breakout session on leaving and transitioning from your corporate job or from whatever job you are working at. Okay. It's going to be so powerful. People are going to be walking out like just arsenal packed, because I've helped coach a lot of people through that, and I've done it myself. Also, I will be at Dealmaker Live at the beginning of June in Dallas, Texas. So great spot. After those events, I'm going to be writing the Conscious Investor book. And then in the fall, I'm going to be launching Basecamp. You've heard me. You're going to continue to hear me. I am so over the moon excited about how Basecamp is going to serve and support you. It is going to be absolutely phenomenal. Wherever you're at in your journey, this is going to be the ecosystem. If you're a conscious investor, this is where you're going to want to be. You're not going to be chasing after financial freedom. You're going to be chasing after personal freedom, and you're going to be amongst like-minded people at every different level. And it is going to be empowering and invigorating, inspiring, encouraging, challenging. It's going to be awesome. And I cannot even wait to explain what Basecamp actually means and what it represents, but I can't share all of it quite yet. I don't mean to tease like that, because I promise you it's not like a tease type thing, but it's just going to be your place, and it will definitely support you with your zone of genius. It will support you with your contribution. to the world around you. And I'm so excited. I'm trying to think, is there anything else that we need to talk about? Yeah, one last thing. Have we connected? You know, I love connecting with you, conscious investor. So don't be shy just because you're hearing me in your earbuds, on the treadmill or something, or walking your dog, doesn't mean that we're distanced apart. Okay. It's just a phone call away. So go down below in the show notes and pop on a calendar, 20-minute call just to say, hey, let's get to know each other. Maybe you want to learn about coaching. Maybe you want to learn about investing. So make sure, choose one of those. Let's pop on a call because you are important. And I love supporting you in reaching and achieving and absolutely exceeding your goals. Until next time, live big, love bigger, and do great things. What's the big deal about investing in apartments? Why is it better than investing in a slew of single-family homes? I've compiled a lot of information on why investing in a multifamily, also known as apartments, will help you reach your investment goals. Head over to 3keysinvestments.com and download the Why Invest in Multifamily guide today.